All right. So let's dive into something I think that's on all of our minds as retail executives.
Yeah.
How do we make our stores, like our physical stores, really stand out?
Sure.
We've got these two articles, one from Glossy and then one from Multimedia Plus.
Okay.
And they both kind of explore this idea of how brands are turning their associates into really powerful brand ambassadors.
Yeah, it's an interesting shift, particularly, with online shopping being so dominant these days.
Yeah.
These articles are really saying like your in-store staff can be like your secret weapon, you know,
Really?
creating experiences that you just can't get online.
Right. And I think Glossy really starts out strong here by hitting us with this stat from the National Retail Federation that 73% of shoppers
Wow.
already know what they want to buy before they even step foot in the store.
That's huge. Yeah, that's a really important insight, I think, because it really means that, just having products on shelves
Right.
isn't enough anymore.
Sure.
Customers are coming in with like very specific needs and expectations, and your staff has to be ready to meet those expectations with a level of expertise that goes way beyond like a quick Google search.
Exactly. And so how are brands tackling this big challenge?
Yeah.
Glossy highlights Foot Locker. And I think they have a really interesting approach
Okay.
to training.
Hmm.
They've totally gotten rid of the old school textbooks and
Right.
they've moved to these interactive apps
Oh, cool.
called Lace Up and Sneaker U
Uh-huh.
for daily training on all the new releases that they have.
I see. So it's like they're recognizing that their employees are like, the ones on the front lines talking to these like passionate sneakerheads every day.
Right.
And these apps are not just about like giving them information. It's about creating this culture of like constant learning
Yeah.
and making sure that the staff can, really talk to customers on their level
Sure.
with like real passion for the products.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
You want your staff to be as knowledgeable as your biggest fan.
Yeah.
But it's not just about product knowledge, is it?
Right.
Glossy also talks about these reimagined stores that Foot Locker's been rolling out.
Okay. So reimagine, is this like going beyond just like how it looks?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's the whole experience.
Gotcha.
And so they're bringing in tech like 3D scanning to help customers find the perfect fit,
That's cool.
which, obviously enhances the customer experience, but it also drives business results.
Makes sense.
Glossy says that they're seeing higher conversion rates and larger basket sizes.
Wow.
And it's even attracting more women, which is like a key demographic for them.
Interesting. So they're really hitting all the right points there. A better customer experience, more sales,
Yeah,
and, reaching new customers.
totally. But how does tech empower the staff themselves? What are they doing for their employees?
Yeah, that's a good question because they're not just like throwing technology at the problem. They've built feedback systems right into the app.
Okay.
So the staff can directly talk to management about, things they're concerned about their needs. So
Wow.
it's like a real two-way conversation, recognizing that employees have really valuable insight
Yeah.
into what's going on.
That's a great point. It's not just about, telling people what to do. It's about letting them contribute.
Exactly.
Now, Glossy also highlights another brand, Arc'teryx.
Okay.
And their approach to training is so unique.
Oh, really? How so?
So they have their employees test drive products.
Oh, wow.
They even go on outdoor trips to experience the gear in action.
That's taking knowing your product to like a whole other level.
I know, right?
But I guess it makes sense for a brand like Arc'teryx, right?
It
When
would.
their customers are like climbing mountains and out in the elements,
Right.
they expect that the staff are going to know like firsthand
Yeah,
how that gear actually performs
exactly.
in the real world,
So this training just builds so much credibility and authenticity. For sure.
which is priceless these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's so cool to see how these brands are like thinking outside the box when it comes to training.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about knowledge, expertise, all that.
Uh-huh.
But how do we turn these, knowledgeable associates into true brand ambassadors?
Right.
That's where the Multimedia Plus article comes in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Multimedia Plus really takes a deep dive into what it actually means to be a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
And it's way more than just, wearing the company logo.
Right.
They're saying it's about someone who really embodies the brand's values,
Okay.
They're the product expert. They tell these compelling stories and they're creating these memorable customer experiences
Right.
that ultimately build loyalty,
So it sounds like they're moving past like just the simple transaction and they're going for something much deeper,
Exactly.
like a true connection between the customer and the brand.
Uh-huh.
But how do we actually like cultivate that in our teams. Right.
As retail executives, like what are the actual steps to empowering our staff
Yeah.
to become these brand ambassadors?
Well, Multimedia Plus lays out these like 4 key strategies that I think are really relevant for us.
All right.
First, they talk about like investing in continuous and accessible training.
Yeah.
Think like, bite-sized mobile modules that can easily fit into, people's busy schedules.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We need to make learning like a seamless part of their day.
Yeah.
Not just this extra thing they have to do.
Exactly.
What else do they suggest?
So the second strategy is all about communication.
Okay.
Like using real-time tools to keep everyone on the same page and informed.
Okay.
Imagine like an internal social media platform.
Oh, interesting.
For your company,
Yeah.
where information can flow freely and everyone's like in the loop.
I could see how that would be super powerful, breaking down those silos and creating a sense of community across different stores departments.
Right.
But isn't there a risk of like information overload?
That's a good point.
How do you make sure that it stays relevant?
Yeah.
And it doesn't become too overwhelming?
Yeah, and Multimedia Plus definitely acknowledges that finding the right balance is key.
Right.
It's not about like bombarding people with updates constantly.
Yeah.
It's about giving them timely information, that helps them do their jobs better.
Okay.
And makes them feel connected to the bigger picture.
Gotcha.
The third strategy they talk about is something that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's all about fostering this culture of empowerment.
I like that.
Where the staff feel trusted to make decisions and take ownership of their roles.
I think that's such a critical point. And as retail executives, that's something we need to be constantly thinking about.
Absolutely.
How do we create an environment where our team members feel confident?
For sure.
And valued?
Yeah.
Where they see themselves as, contributors, not just cogs in a machine.
Right. Like, how do we actually foster that sense of ownership?
Exactly.
Well, I think it starts with trust, right?
Yeah.
Empowering your staff means giving them the autonomy to solve problems and make decisions within, their area.
Yeah.
So it's about giving them the resources and the support they need,
right?
But also creating clear guidelines and expectations.
So it's like finding that balance between freedom and structure,
right?
Guidance and autonomy.
Exactly.
Okay. What about the final strategy?
So the fourth one really brings everything together.
Okay.
It's about using technology to streamline your operations, integrating your training, your communication, your task management into one cohesive system.
It sounds like they're advocating for a more holistic approach to staff empowerment.
Exactly.
Recognizing that it's not just about these individual initiatives, but creating an ecosystem that supports their growth. But how do we make sure that technology doesn't become a barrier itself? We don't want to overwhelm our staff.
That's a really good point.
With these complex systems that just add to their workload.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Technology should simplify things, not complicate them.
Right.
The key is to choose tools that are user-friendly, intuitive, and that integrates well with the systems you already have.
Makes sense.
And then you have to make sure to provide enough training and support.
Yes.
So everyone can actually use these tools effectively.
So it's not just about implementing the technology.
Right.
It's about making sure it's actually adopted and used properly.
Exactly.
So we've talked about all these strategies for empowering staff.
Yeah.
Turning them into brand ambassadors.
Right.
But what kind of impact can we as retail executives really expect to see on our business?
Yeah.
What's the bottom line here?
Well, the benefits are actually like pretty diverse.
Okay.
And Multimedia Plus highlights 3 that I think are really important for us. First, and probably most importantly, you should see increased sales conversion.
Right.
When your staff are knowledgeable, confident,
right,
and empowered to engage with customers on that deeper level.
Yeah.
They basically become trusted advisors, not just salespeople.
Right. They can really guide the customers to make better decisions.
Exactly.
And it creates that more positive, personalized experience.
And that leads right into the second benefit, which is stronger customer loyalty.
Makes sense.
Think about it. When customers have these like memorable interactions with your staff,
right,
they're much more likely to come back.
Right. It's about building that community where people feel valued and understood.
Exactly. And a strong community leads to a good reputation.
Totally.
And that brings us to the third benefit, which is improved brand reputation.
Okay.
When your employees really embody those brand values and consistently provide that great service,
right,
it creates this ripple effect.
Yeah.
You know, customers share their good experiences.
For sure. Online, offline.
Yeah.
And you build this brand image
Right.
that's authentic and trustworthy.
It sounds like a win-win for everyone.
It really is.
You know, empowered staff.
Yeah.
Happy customers.
Huh?
Stronger brand reputation.
Absolutely.
Now, the Multimedia Plus article mentions this specific platform called Insight.
Right.
But I'm guessing there are other tools and technologies out there to
Yeah.
help retailers achieve these same goals.
Yeah, for sure. Insight is just one example.
Right.
And I think the key takeaway for us as retail executives is that, we need to explore what's out there. Find the tools and the strategies
Right.
that really work for our needs and goals.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that right fit for your company.
Yeah.
And, having this mindset of continuous improvement.
Right.
Retail is always changing, so we have to stay ahead of the curve.
For sure.
Be adaptable.
Right.
Always looking for new and better ways to empower our frontline.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with this one thought.
Okay.
We've talked about knowledgeable staff, experiential training,
Right.
cultivating these brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
But really, it all comes down to this.
Okay.
Investing in your people.
I completely agree.
Your frontline staff are the face of your brand. They're the ones interacting with your customers every single day.
Right.
They can make or break the experience.
For sure.
And by empowering them with knowledge, with the right tools,
Right.
and that sense of ownership, you're not just improving your business.
Right.
You're creating this culture of excellence.
It's true.
That benefits everyone.
It's like a ripple effect,
Yeah.
Starting with your employees and then going out to your customers.
Right.
And your brand.
So as you move forward, think about the things we've talked about today.
Okay.
Ask yourself, how can I create an environment where my team feels valued? They feel knowledgeable.
Right.
And they feel confident to represent my brand.
That's a great question.
Because the answer to that question
Yeah.
could really unlock some amazing potential for your business.
Absolutely.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
All right. Sounds good.